How to make a metal rose. Tools you'll need: a hammer, a center punch, scissors or tin snips, pliers. Materials: a wire to connect them with, and at least 5 can lids. You can use 4. I don't recommend using 6. Be cautious as the edges are sharp. First thing you want to do is to center punch each of the can lids. You'll need 2 holes. Okay, don't need to punch it that hard. 2 holes 1/4 to 3/8 inches apart in each of the lids. As in nature, this is not a precise measurement, just sort of a guess. You're aiming for the center of the rose to actually be intact, so the holes are a little bit slightly off-centered. Finished with the hole punch and the hammer. Got 5 lids with little holes. What I want to do now, holding the holes, I'm going to cut perpendicular into the holes halfway. Into quarters on each of the lids. Note, these lines are in line with the holes. These holes I'm going to turn about 30 degrees off center and cut the lines. You can do the opposite sides or cut them around 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one I'll go back to like I did on the first one and cut straight into the holes at 90 degrees to the holes. This one will again be off, not 90 degrees to the holes. And like in nature, you're not aiming for perfection. That was off 90 degrees, so this will be exact. And there. We now take our wire and bend it into a U shape. Take our smallest one and insert both sides. Pull tightly. Insert our next one. Again, I'm not paying too close of attention to which holes go in where. Again, be careful, the edges of these are sharp. And now, with the pliers, I'm going to twist these together so that the wire will not come undone. And I'm just going to kind of pretty it up here. And there we have it, attached lids. First thing to do on each corner, on each lid, at each corner, turn each corner down, and then I press them with the edge of the pliers. This performs 2 functions. First, it removes the most dangerous part of the sharp lid, the pointed corners. Secondarily, it will provide a great deal of mechanical support for the rows. Oops. That one just does not want to come under. Now the artistic part. Grab one, turn it a third the way up. The next one, a third the way, third the way, third. Lift, 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 lift. Yes, and it should look a bit like a swastika, not intentionally, and no, nothing is intended by that. A third on each of the other ends. And now, feather each of the tops by just turning it under, pinching just a little bit of it and flipping it over. You'll do that for all three of the turned up sides of each piece. This actually makes the metal very structural. You have to approach these from the bottom side. This little lid's pretty small. Could probably have made a little rosebud out of it. Okay, and we'll just continue with the next row. Same process, turn up 1/3. Opposite side. Final two pieces. Okay, I'm going to turn this one down in the center here before bending the other third of these, just because it looks like it would work better. Ow. Yeah, I just slid off and poked my finger on one of the sharp parts. But again, that happens. Ah, bloody finger. Yes, while spinning this around, you can cut your hand open too, so just be careful. going to just go ahead and turn all of the corners down. On this outside ring, you can actually see where I have cut them down, turned them upside down. I haven't done it in this order, but probably after making the small holes and cutting the 4 lines, probably turn the corners down. Then it wouldn't make much difference when it's done. Lifting the pieces into place, and they just kind of feather into the rows. In doing that, be real careful pushing them together, because you feel the pressure on your fingers that it is just right about to cut into you. These little turns on the top of the roses are much like the actual petals of a rose in nature. As well, in the metal, they add a great deal of structural support. That's why they have all these rings and tin cans that add structural support, even though the metal's very thin. If you think about it, the lunar excursion module, the skin of it was only as thick as a few sheets of aluminum foil. You think, well, that's not very structurally sound. Aluminum foil's not very much. But think about a Coca-Cola can. It's not much thicker than a few sheets of aluminum foil, yet it's very structurally sound. A lot of engineering in a Coke can. Now the outer ones I'm just twisting until they come to the edge right here of the other petals. Wasn't quite cut all the way through. Just kind of push them together. You begin to see the rows. Yeah. Let's go ahead. This is getting loose, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten or bring these other third pieces out here before curving them. Actually, I'm just sort of pinching the metal and rolling it until the pliers come off. You want it to be more like nature. Not every petal is going to be perfect or the same. In fact, if you have 2 sets of identical can lids, probably not going to be able to get identical roses out of them. But then who's ever seen 2 identical roses, if you look close enough? these last two up first. Oop. Darn gravity. Comes to us from my neighbor's grandmother sometime in the late 1800s. She has some roses that she has on her patio. I studied them for a while and decided I could figure out how to make them. Hers are much better than mine. And just a little push in there, see how it is, and we have a rose. Thanks for watching.